A very good evening to you and welcome to Hope TV Newswatch on this 10th day of May 2022. My name is Kennedy Kimani and assisting the sign language interpretation is Boniface Murithi. You can engage us on our various social media platforms at HopeTV_KE and at Kennedy Kimani_ on Twitter. The hashtag to use is Hope TV Newswatch. Now, with just 3 months to the August polls, the church has strongly come out to stamp its voice over the political affairs of the country and other issues of national interest to ensure a peaceful environment during and after the elections. The Evangelical Alliance of Kenya has today held a massive convention of the clergy at the Nairobi Baptist Church in Nairobi County that brought together religious leaders from across the country. The aim of the convention was to ensure there is peace through the election, even as the alliance mentors political leaders to become a people of relevance. Tony Omondi begins the bulletin with the following story.
The church, being the beacon of the society, has over decades been blamed for lack of participation in politics, national issues, or issuing what one would call divine direction to the country. But the narrative is now changing after the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, EAK, brought together more than 1,000 clergy members from across the country for an engagement to build a peaceful country ahead of the 2022 general election. The Evangel Mediation Council seeks to ensure inclusion of all religious leaders towards pastoring for a peaceful 2022 general election. The convention began with a powerful sermon from EAK Chair Bishop Emeritus Dr. David Oginde, who highlighted the plights ailing the country, saying leaders must be objective to effect positive change in the country.
The commitment to do things right, the commitment to ethics, the commitment to morality, the commitment to uprightness, the commitment to integrity.
While Oginde said Kenya has a big vision and is full of potential, the country is short of people committed to doing the right thing.
The Kenya I want is where our leaders commit to do the right thing. The Kenya I want, and when I say leaders, I'm not just talking political leaders. I'm talking any person who calls themselves a leader or who is considered to be. That includes you and I. Are we together? Let's just do the right thing.
The vocal leader, however, decried wanton corruption in the country. He expressed dismay that the country has normalized various ills such as murders and tribalism.
If we look back into the history of this nation, you will find that in the matters of conscience, we have been on a free fall. What was considered evil yesterday and an abomination only yesterday is now an acceptable and tolerable thing. If stealing 2,000 shillings yesterday was a terrible, unforgivable sin, stealing 15 billion, 5 billion and so on now is okay. We read it in the papers as if it's nothing.
While addressing political issues, Oginde called for earnest implementation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution that talks on leadership and integrity.
It talks about values that will form the foundation of our leadership, of everything that we do. But Chapter 6 is just a song. Just a song. I'm praying that God will give us leaders who will commit to Chapter 6. Hallelujah. And make this country go to where it needs to go. This is the Kenya we want. Oh, this is the Kenya I want. For you, I don't know what you're looking for. But for me, this is the Kenya I want. Where things work and where people value each other and where people value God.
Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga, who are expected to attend the meeting, did not show up. The EAK will tomorrow hold their annual general meeting, where the Deputy President William Ruto is expected to attend. Tony Omondi for Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Tony, for that report. Now, moving on, Deputy President William Ruto has officially received Kilifi Governor, who is also the Pamoja African Alliance Party leader, Amason Kingi, from Azimio to his Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Accompanied by his fellow coalition leaders Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and Justin Muturi, Ruto received party leadership at his current residence, a day after receiving Maendeleo Chapchap party leader Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua, who also ditched Azimio to join the Kenya Kwanza camp. Ruto told of Azimio's Raphael Tuju on claims that those exiting Azimio were playing for both sides, saying their rivals have nothing to offer. Dickens Luvanda now reports.
When a stalemate arose on how we are being treated, we made a decision to walk out of the Azimio as a coalition. We therefore wrote to the Registrar of Political Parties to exclude us from that membership.
After weeks of speculations over his next political move, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi, leading his Pamoja African Alliance party, has officially ditched the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition for Deputy President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Today, the coastal person is saying we are not taking nothing short of a written commitment. And we're happy that we couldn't get this in Azimio, but Kenya Kwanza have agreed, and indeed they've done it. They have put this as a commitment.
We have signed into that commitment because we have every intention, commitment, and belief that we will deliver on this commitment.
Ruto welcomed the PAA party to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance at his current residence on Tuesday, with the Kingi who fell out with the ODM party before forming PAA, saying he left the Azimio due to its deep secrecy, mistrust, and political deceit.
And what PAA has done, to tell you the truth, is to send a very strong signal to those who are still being held hostage and suffering under that bondage, that they can actually set themselves free.
We have been accused of all sorts after signing this agreement, that we've been playing both sides. We have been told that we were demanding to get a copy of the agreement because we wanted to use it to benchmark. To benchmark what? Defeat. Kenya Kwanza and Azimio are two different legal entities. Absolutely. One is a political party, the other is a coalition. Absolutely. So how do you benchmark the two?
The two-time county boss termed the new deal as a win for the coastal people when Ruto's team ascends to power in the upcoming August general election, with the emphasis on addressing marginalization of the coastal region, land injustices, as well as tapping the blue economy to benefit locals.
The coastal chap, what they're looking for is to end the derogatory and demeaning title of being called squatters in an independent country. That has to end. And it cannot end through promises. It can only end through commitment to walk that journey.
As you pursue the land question, there has been a misconception at the coast that we people from the mountain took away your land. That is not the case. When you are with us, feel comfortable. We are also victims. The few people from the mountain who took the land from the coast people also took land from the Mau Mau and from the peasants from the mountain.
On matters to do with the port, it was never the intention of the government of Kenya to build the SGR so that the coast can be impoverished. That was never the intention. In fact, the converse was the intention. The SGR was meant to make the port much more efficient, better, and to improve the business and the fortunes of the people in the coast. Unfortunately, a few people took hostage the whole program and ended up with selfish programs.
The PAA party's reasons for leaving Azimio are similar to those of Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua-led Maendeleo Chapchap party, which decamped to the Kenya Kwanza on Monday, as both decried being kept in the dark about internal affairs and failure to access or understand the coalition agreement. Claims Azimio la Umoja Oka through Raphael Tuju disputed, saying those exiting Azimio were moles in the coalition.
They know what they signed because they read what they signed. And if you can tell me that you signed something and you don't know what you signed, then where's the problem? The problem is with you who signed what you don't know. And that document is with the Register of Political Parties.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dickens, for that report. Now, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has today appeared before the 7-member selection panel led by Noah Wekesa, tasked to assess the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance deputy president nominees. After the meeting, Kalonzo defended his decision to appear before the Azimio Running selection panel, said he did not want to give anyone an excuse to exclude him from being Raila Odinga's running mate. The former vice president said it was his own decision to appear before the 7-member panel, despite earlier on dismissing the committee chaired by former Kwanza MP Dr. Noah Wekesa. Kalonzo described the exercise as more of a conversation and not an interview as it has been perceived. Tess Njenga with more on the story.
Despite Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and a section of leaders from his party earlier insisting that Kalonzo would not attend the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance interviews, the former DP today appeared before the selection panel. Last week, Kalonzo termed the process demeaning to his stature given the positions he has formerly occupied in the country before.
Kalonzo amekuwa vice president wa Kibaki miaka mitano. Kalonzo amekuwa running mate wa Raila 2013 na 2017.
The former vice president today said it was his own decision to appear before the 7-member panel, describing the exercise as more of a conversation and not an interview as it had been perceived.
With the panelists led by Mheshimiwa Noah Wekesa, 2-hour conversation, which was very useful, I believe. And because I'm not at liberty to divulge the contents of that conversation, I stress conversation, not an interview. I know that you may want to ask a question. You had said you are not coming. And I want to tell you that the decision to come was my decision because I realized we didn't want to give anybody an excuse whatsoever to say, aligomea kuja. So I'm here, and I can tell you it has been a wonderful conversation. Wazee kama Bishop Njenga, Archbishop Zacchaeus Okoth. I looked at that in my own mind and I said, why would I not want to go and greet Archbishop Okoth at his age? Therefore, I had to take that decision, and I want to ask that all my supporters who had given me their interview, even the conclusions of those interviews, were carried forward.
While on the campaign trail in Machakos today, Deputy President William Ruto and Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula disapproved of the move, terming it disrespectful.
Ati mumesikia ati walienda kufanyia interview Kalonzo Musyoka. Mimi mmesikia hiyo story. Ati mtu ya kitendawili ameenda kumfanyisha ati Kalonzo Musyoka ati interview. Ati anamuuliza ati jina yako ni nani? Yaani mimi nataka niwaulize watu wa Ukambani, wana kitendawili atajua jina ya Kalonzo all this time? Ati anamuuliza sijui kama amesoma, sijui kama hajasoma.
Ati leo hii wanapeleka Kalonzo kusimama kwa line na Sabina Chege kufanyishwa interview. Hiyo ni madharau kiasi gani? Ni madharau si madharau? Madharau si madharau.
Yesterday, NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua, Murang'a woman representative Sabina Chege, Governors Hassan Joho, Wycliffe Oparanya and Lee Kinyanjui appeared before the panel. Others shortlisted are NARC leader Charity Ngilu, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, former Gatanga Member of Parliament Peter Kenneth, and former Kenyan Ambassador to Australia Stephen Tarus. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you, Tess, for that report. Now, Azimio One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga has promised to revive the Juakali sector if he clinches the presidential seat in the August 9th elections. Odinga says his government, through the recognition of prior learning policy, will address the country's high unemployment rate, which while also boosting the Kenyan economy. Odinga was speaking in Nairobi on Tuesday, maintaining that the lack of proper policy to recognize knowledge and skills to enable Juakali artisans get certification was holding back workers from financial well-being. Grace Ongoi has the details.
With only months to the general elections, Azimio One Kenya coalition flag bearer Raila Odinga has taken a bold step to outline his ambitious agenda with the Jua Kali sector. For a sector that employs 16.4 million artisans, contributing to 34% of the GDP, the importance cannot be downplayed. In a press conference at his current residence, Odinga noted if he forms the next government, he will seek to address the plight of the artisans who he claimed suffered financially for lack of proper certification.
With the RPL, our country and my government will be addressing the needs of millions of Kenyans who flock to work in industrial areas of our various towns, armed with the excellent skills but no certification. They are therefore overworked and underpaid for their otherwise excellent skills.
Through adoption of recognition of prior learning policy in Kenya, RPL, Odinga hopes to provide policy for recognition of knowledge and skills regardless of where and how they were acquired, noting that by doing this, Jua Kali artisans will receive certification that will better their chance at being employed.
The RPL provides for recognition of knowledge, skills and competencies, regardless of where and how they were acquired. It is a progression map to facilitate the transition of skilled workers from informality to formality.
Citing a few examples, Odinga said those who have studied professionally for the specific courses are awarded the high-income tenders, yet they lack the proper skills, who then turn to the non-certified workers to do the grunt work for less pay.
Mtu kwa mfano anazeeka nyumba, anaweka vigae, na yeye analipa ati kigae moja shilingi moja, gai moja shilingi moja. Yule mtu ambaye alipewa kandarasi ndio anachukua mingi ya pesa hizo, wananyonywa na mabwanyenye. Tumesema tunataka kumaliza haya, kuleta ile kitu tunaitwa the RPL ambaye itatambua ujuzi wa mtu na kumpatia yeye shahada ambaye anaweza kutumia kikazi.
Odinga, who has frequently said he will transform Kenya during his 100 days in office if elected, is now calling for the policy to be implemented as soon as possible, noting he will welcome collaboration with like-minded stakeholders to see it through.
We are going to form a partnership to ensure that this sector is formalized and that it succeeds. This is what we are saying as Azimio la Umoja. Inawezekana.
Grace Wangoi for Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Grace, for that report. Now, independent presidential aspirant in the August polls, Muthiora Karriara, has unveiled Miriam Muthikwa Mutua as his running mate. Karriara, who vied and lost in the 2017 general elections, picked Miriam Mutua, who was also a running mate of the 2017 presidential candidate Michael Wainaina Mwaura, saying she brings to the Secretariat a vast experience as they kick off the journey to restore the country. Muthiora becomes the first presidential aspirant to pick a woman as a running mate ahead of the May 6th IBC deadline.
Welcome to this very special day for the Muthiora Karriara for President Secretariat, the person that I'll be partnering in this race. She is not new to the Kenyan voter because in the past she has been involved in humanitarian work across several communities in Kenya, something that she holds very passionately. Mbali na hapo, ambacho tulikuwa hatujafanya ni kumjulisha ambaye atakuwa anawania pamoja na mimi, ambacho leo tumefanya. Kwa hiyo kile ambacho kimesalia ni IEBC kuturatibisha kati ya wale ambao tayari wamepita.
I was a running mate before in 2017 as well. And this time again, I am here to make a change in our country. We are the new voice right now. Our biggest problem for the last 20 years is and remains to be the owners of the big parties, but also Not only shall we lighten the economic burden on the people, but also the burden of the education and healthcare sectors on Kenyans. It's time we make our public institutions, especially schools and hospitals, a first priority so that any Kenyan will, without hesitation, seek services in public institutions and not the way it is now, where these institutions are left for the poor. And to the youth, we are aware of your struggles to ensure you make your ends meet and live in dignity. Self-reliance, creating more business opportunities, introducing platforms for the youth to discover themselves and what they do best and turn it to their advantage of generating an income.
Moving on, Narok UDA gubernatorial aspirant Patrick Ole Ntutu has picked engineer Matthew Kipkirui as his running mate in the August polls. The 29-year-old engineer, who originates from Emurua Dikir constituency, was selected after a panel of experts interviewed several candidates who had shown interest in the position in the previous week. The former Labour Chief Administrative Secretary said choosing engineer Kipkirui as running mate brings hope to the youthful generation and echoes commitment in empowering the young people to achieve their dreams despite their limited resources.
So today is a great day for the Narok County because we are unveiling a new dawn for Narok County. The Kenyan youth and the entire Narok County are proud today because the change is on the horizon. My name is Engineer Matthew Rono, and I'm glad to have been nominated as an incoming Deputy Governor under the UDA and the Kenya Kwanza. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby take this opportunity to humbly accept the nomination. And being that now the youth are well represented,
I just want to assure the people of Narok County that today is a great day for us as Kenya Kwanza. For the youth, I think you have something to smile on. Look at the face of Engineer Kirui, Matthew. He's smiling and he's telling you, here we come. We want the youth to know that my government will involve the youth of Narok County. We also want to assure the people of Narok, we are a county that we want to include everybody in our leadership. That is why we settle on Kirui, knowing that our county is cosmopolitan and we are going to include everybody.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has expressed the need for Kenya and the United Arab Emirates to rejuvenate their bilateral cooperation for the mutual benefit of the people of the two countries. The president spoke at State House, Nairobi, when he received a delegation sent by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces. The meeting, which reviewed the status of the implementation of the economic and technical cooperation between the two countries, was a follow-up to President Kenyatta's working visit to the Gulf nation in February, where he met and held talks with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, among other engagements.
We have had long-standing historical relations, but for some years now, as it has been strong in some areas, it has been very weak in other areas. We had a very strong relationship, especially in the agricultural sector, in terms of our export of livestock and etc. We had a strong relationship in our port development. And these are areas that somehow have gone down, and we want to see how we can push them up. We share very many things in common. I'm not going to get into all of them. We have similar security threats, which we deal with in common. That's not for this meeting. We work very well together in those areas. But this meeting is to see that those areas that have not been strong, how can we make them strong again? We have many thousands of our people who are working, in the UAE. And I believe that the UAE is our gateway as a country into the Gulf, just as much as we want to be the UAE's gateway into sub-Saharan Africa. and similar ideological, economic approaches, and we need to mesh this as it is now. The world will require alternative sources of ensuring food security. They are willing to work with us in that department, in grain, in all the different areas, not just for them, but for us, but for the world at large.
And now on that note, we now take a short commercial break, but we'll be back shortly with more news. See you on the other side.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Juu ya mwamba huu nitalijenga kanisa langu. Hapa leo hii tuko na msikiti wa Mariamu, msikiti wa Yesu.
Kumbe kuna msikiti wa Yesu.
Ukiandika msikiti wa Yesu Kristo, mwana wa Mariam, weka injili ndani, hubiria watu injili.
Kitabu ya Yohana inaandikwa 110 AD na Ufunuo Yohana 248 AD.
Na Qur'ani.
Mimi nakueleza habari ya Yesu kwanza, ufahamu hiyo kwanza.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Qur'an imekuja mwaka 600 baada ya Injili.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Biblia inasema pepo la nini? La uaguzi. Pepo la uaguzi maana yake inaweza ikajua wewe nyumbani kwako umetoka saa ngapi. Unajua mapepo anajua hivi. Kwamba leo ulikula chakula gani.
Kama Bwana Yesu alitumwa kwa wana wa Israeli peke yao, wengine wetu ambao tunamwamini, basi sehemu yetu iko wapi?
Yesu ndiye njia. Kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
The CA Kuza Broadcasting Awards 2022 is here again. Time to celebrate excellence in Kenyan broadcasting under the theme Raising the Standard of Excellence in Broadcasting. At no cost, vote for Hope FM and Hope TV as your favorite radio station and TV station. To vote for Hope, SMS the word Kuza to 15601 and answer the 4 simple questions and press send. The text message is absolutely free. Voting ends on 8th May 2022. Hope FM, listen and live. Hope TV, look and live. The CA Kuza Broadcasting Awards is an initiative of the Communications Authority of Kenya.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has warned that money laundering criminal entities may buy their way into elected offices in the upcoming elections, resulting in 40% of office holders being money launderers. According to the CS, who was speaking at the 2022 National Conference on Criminal Justice Reforms in Naivasha today, criminals are capitalizing on sloppy banking regulations to influence the electoral process. Dolly Murige with more on the story.
To all of us.
The government has identified weak regulation on the amount and source of campaign funds as a major threat to the credibility of the August general elections. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i told a forum of stakeholders in the criminal justice system that money launderers and other criminals were taking advantage of lax financial regulations to manipulate the electoral process.
And then the correctional.
Addressing the second National Conference on Criminal Justice Reforms in Naivasha, the CS warned that the country risked having a large number of criminals buying their way into elected office.
We have undertaken recently unprecedented measures to ensure that we not only improve the way in which we police the country, but the capacity of the police service, as it were. Those initiatives that have been put in place to enhance human rights-based approach to policing include, but are not limited to, one, the new form for the first time in the country of training specialized police officers. We have just seen off the graduation of cadet police officers, and we have drawn from the ranks of professional organizations like we now have lawyers, we have doctors, We have forensic experts and ICT engineers and all those cadres.
The CS added the prosecution of persons found guilty of disrupting the electoral process on social media platforms also threatens the election exercise, as most suspects often get around these by posting bail.
We from the executive branch of government are willing, ready and available to work with all the actors in the criminal justice system. It's gratifying to note that in our country, we are shedding off some of our very bad habits in the past of not conversing with one another, not engaging across the arms of government, of working in silos, and of intensifying institutional suspicion across the board.
According to the Chief Justice Martha Koome, failure to affirm the dignity of any person in contact or conflict with the law and failure to uphold their rights at any stage of criminal justice process is a miscarriage of justice.
A failure to affirm the dignity of any person in contact or conflict with the law, and a failure to uphold their rights at any stage of the criminal justice process is a miscarriage of justice. Therefore, we chose this theme towards a rights-based criminal justice sector, which is truly befitting.
It is concerning that instances of mishandled evidence are becoming increasingly pervasive. We have observed instances where the evidence presented to us is limited, has been altered, or has been acquired through improper procedural processes. Additionally, adequate documentation and preservation of evidence has also been seen to be lacking.
Approximately 10,000 police officers have been drawn from different law enforcement agencies to oversee the election. They're up to the task and will work hand in hand with IEBC to ensure that the polls are conducted without any hitches.
As you know, because of the COVID-19.
Dolly Murigi, Hope TV, Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Dolly, for that report now. With just less than 3 months to the August polls, the security team in Narok County is working with religious leaders to hold the peace prayer meetings ahead of the elections. Narok County Commissioner Isaac Masinde has said the first prayer caravan will be held at Ntimama Stadium on the 26th of May, where all aspiring politicians and incumbent leaders will be invited for prayers.
Tumekubaliana wote ya kwamba tutakuwa na mkutano kubwa sana katika Ntimama Stadium hapa Narok ya kuomba amani. Katika nchi yetu wakati huu wa uchaguzi, na sisi tukiwa viongozi wa kanisa tumekuja kujumuika pamoja, na haswa zaidi jambo la kwanza ni la kuwasihi wanasiasa ambao wanawania viti mbalimbali kuweza katika siasa kuhubiri na kufanya siasa ya amani.
Moving on, residents of Mavoloni in Dalani, Yatta Sub-County, Machakos County, are at loggerheads with a private developer who is allegedly said to have grabbed land after forcefully evicting hundreds of squatters living there. The aggrieved squatters who sought refuge in nearby churches and neighborhood have now started collecting signatures to challenge the National Land Commission (NEMA) and Parliament to intervene and stop the operations of quarry stone crusher and mining on the mountain, resettle the displaced persons and compensate all the victims of historical land injustices.
Nilipigwa risasi na askari na nimesuguka Kenya yote, kwa ofisi yote ya serikali, nimeenda kwa human rights. Hii kitu imejadiliwa katika bunge, hakuna kitu any step imechukuliwa, na wale bado walifanya. Mimi mwenyewe nilipigwa risasi, bado wako kwa manyumba zao wakiendelea tu na kuuza mashamba yetu.
Tulikuja tukiwa watoto tukalelewa huko, wazazi wetu wakaaga tukasika huko na watu wetu tukazika huko. Sasa ilikuwa ajabu sana kukuja kuondolewa huko tukisemekana shamba sio yetu. Sasa tukashangaa, tulistukia mwendo wa saa 11 mangari ikiwa imeingia huko na serikali ilikuwa imebeba mizinga bunduki. Sasa tukashangaa sisi, kwani huko sio kwetu, na tukashangaa tena tukakuwa tukijiuliza, wakati tulikuwa na wazazi hawakuja, walistukia kuja wakati wazazi wetu waliaga.
Vile serikali ilifanya IDPs kule Nakuru, pia ikumbuke hapa tuko na IDPs katika hii eneo ya Mavoloni, waletewe chakula na pia serikali iwafidie pesa ambao wanaweza kununua shamba na wanaweza kulima. Ile ingine ninataka kusema, nauliza National Land Commission wakuje wenyewe hapa Mavoloni, waangalie waone watu walifurusha kwenye mlima na mlima ikauziwa mtu binafsi.
Over 29,000 public servants have received counseling services in the county of Embu since the government rolled out the mental health program 3 years ago. Speaking at the Kenya School of Government in Embu, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service and Gender, Mary Kimonye, said the program started in response to increased incidents of depression, homicide and suicide among civil servants, and is now being upscaled to ensure every work unit has a mental health champion to raise awareness on how to behave in case of mental health problems.
The World Health Organization also estimates that 264 million people suffer from depression globally, and that depression is currently the leading cause of suicide across the globe. Mental health and well-being of the public servant is a major determinant of both their quality of life and their capability to perform, and therefore their productivity, and in effect, national productivity. And this is why we cannot afford to put off the issues of mental health in the public service any longer. And this depression creeps on us slowly. You may find somebody who was very talkative, they are all of a sudden very quiet. Yeah? Somebody who used to come to work on time, now they're not coming to work on time. Somebody who would put up their hand to answer a question, now they are withdrawn. And this is why we are training the mental health champions to be able to look at these changes in an individual. So you need to be very, very alert.
Shifting gears to some international news, and at least 3,000 people have died in Ukraine due to the lack of access to treatment of chronic diseases, which has largely been caused by the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The World Health Organization's European chief, Hans Kluge, says they have documented 200 attacks in Ukraine on healthcare facilities, and only a few hospitals are functioning.
As we speak, the few hospitals still functioning are attending life-threatening burn, bullet and shrapnel injuries, with many unattended at home or in the streets with these injuries, or with tuberculosis, depression and psychiatric disorders, diabetes, HIV, COVID, and cancer. 40% of households have at least one member in need of chronic treatment that they can no longer find, resulting in an estimated at least 3,000 premature avoidable deaths. The direct impact of the conflict after 2 months is appalling. At least 3,382 civilian deaths, among which 75 girls and 91 boys, and 69 children whose sex is yet unknown. 13 million people displaced, and 16 million people in need of assistance.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has signed into law a bill that will streamline the lengthy process of supplying Ukraine with the military equipment needed for the fight against Russia. Biden's signature on the Ukraine Democracy Defense Land Lease Act of 2022 will make it easier for the US to lend or lease military aid to allies affected by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden already has some power to lend or lease equipment, but the legislation he will sign into law will ease some of the requirements for doing so.
I'm signing a bill that provides another important tool in our efforts to support the government of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people in their fight to defend their country and their democracy against Putin's brutal war. And it is brutal. I want to thank members of Congress here for getting this passed and everyone who supported the bill. And the bill demonstrates the support for Ukraine is pivotal at this moment. Every day, Ukrainians pay with their lives and they fight along the atrocities that the Russians are engaging in are just beyond the pale. And the cost of the fight is not cheap, but caving to aggression is even more costly. That's why we're staying in this. There you go. Done.
Hope TV is now available on GoTV Channel 103, Zuku Channel 873, Signet Channel 817, and Star Times Channel 026. Enjoy our uplifting content and family-friendly programming anytime. Hope TV, you look and live.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. Equity Group and the International Finance Corporation have signed a partnership agreement in support of the sustainable development of Africa through supporting micro, small, and medium-sized businesses from all sectors of the economy, including climate-smart businesses. The partnership has seen IFC and its partners commit 19 billion shillings towards Equity's Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan that will see the group, through its regional banking subsidiaries, finance at least 5 million MSMEs and 25 million households, which will in turn create 50 million direct and indirect jobs. And now to some sport in action. The tenure of the Football Kenya Federation Caretaker Committee has come to an end after being in charge for 6 months. While presenting its report to the Sports CS Amina Mohamed today, the Caretaker Committee, led by its chairman Aaron Ringera, put in various recommendations in its report, one of them being the amendment of the FKF Constitution to comply with the Constitution of Kenya and the Sports Act. CS Amina has said that she will make an announcement on the way forward on Thursday. Moving on, KCB RFC has intensified its preparations ahead of the 7th Circuit tournament that kicks off later this month. As they seek to maintain their title, the team will kickstart its campaign in the George Mwangi Kabeberi Sevens on the 21st and 22nd of May before playing in the subsequent legs across the country. Kakamega, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nakuru will host Kakamega Sevens, Driftwood Sevens, Dala Sevens, and Prince Lu Sevens respectively, with the date set to be confirmed by the Kenya Rugby Union.
We have had a very long season, given we played up to the Enterprise Cup finals. And unlike other clubs, some other clubs that didn't make it to the finals had a longer time to prepare for the sevens. But here it is. We've really missed the sevens for 2 years, is it 3 years, since before COVID. We are the defending champions, and we know our work is cut out for us. We're looking forward to a very competitive circuit, and the players are also very excited about the sevens and the traveling around. Unlike 15s, the short version of the game brings in a lot of excitement because you get to exploit space, you get to score tries, you get to also enjoy yourselves on the field and off the field. So KCB is looking at a very competitive selection because the squad has a lot of experience. So I just want to take a game at a time, respect all the opponents. I say they are worthy opponents. All the teams that are in that circuit are worthy opponents. We go there just to take care of our own. We are competing with ourselves, improving ourselves. The less mistakes we make, the better for us.
And finally, some good news to all Man City fans. Erling Haaland's sensational switch to Manchester City from Borussia Dortmund is a done deal, with Haaland having completed his medical at Hospital Erasmus in Brussels, Germany on Monday. The Norwegian has been Man City's prime candidate to replace Sergio Kun Aguero. Haaland has scored 85 goals in 88 matches for Dortmund since joining from RB Salzburg in January 2020. Dortmund's last game of the season is Saturday's home match against Hertha Berlin. And on that note, we come to the tail end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Hope TV Newswatch. On behalf of the whole team that made this bulletin a success, have yourself a good night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and Boniface Murithi has been the sign language interpreter.